Hey there. Hello, everybody. It's Kim Davis. This is a special version, if you will, of Chalk Talk on this last day of Black History Month. Although, quite frankly, we know that Black History happens every month and should be celebrated and talked about every month. So, listen, I wanted to jump on today and do something a little different. I won't be giving you any highlights about sports and stories. I want to share a little piece of history with you about myself. And this has been one of the most difficult things for me to do, not because I don't think it's, you know, well, I guess I didn't think it was that relevant, but I was encouraged by friends and colleagues to say, hey, you've got to tell this story. And I thought, yeah, but story should never really be about me, right? I'm the storyteller about other people. So I thought, you know what? The way I can do this, the way I can share this story is if I can make it instructive and if I can do it in a way that helps somebody else. Because if you've been in my orbit, if you spent any time around me, you've heard me say, hey, listen, you've got to tell your story. If you don't tell it, one, no one will know it, or even worse, somebody else will define it for you and you'll spend forever trying to recapture the narrative. And so listen, although I started this whole journey when I was 12, right? That's my story and I'm sticking to it. In this world of covering sports, I actually started here in Houston, Texas, more than 30 years ago. That gets me back to saying I started when I was 12 because if you're doing the math, you get the point. But here's where the history comes in. I am the first Black woman to cover sports in the Houston market. For newspapers, as a broadcaster, in terms of being a credentialed member of the media covering sports. I'm it, right? And so actually a colleague brought this up to me and he asked the question and I thought, yeah, I guess I am. And he said, well, I think people should know about it. And so Andre Jones, who today is actually his last day on radio over on KYOK, he's retiring from radio to explore some other things. He actually did an entire show one day, invited me on. I thought I was going on the show to talk about Brian Flores and the NFL lawsuit. As it turns out, he really wanted to talk about my career and the journey. He thought it was important and he wanted to honor me. And so I am still really touched by that and was really very, very grateful. So, as Black History Month winds down, but of course the work in Black history, the history that's taken place by so many people should always be told. Here's why I share this story. Okay, so what? You did sports, you're the first Black woman. Why is that even really important? Because what it means is there's always something that you might want to do. And I'm just here to tell you that you can do it. I'm also here to tell you that the journey may not be smooth because mine surely has not. It still isn't to this day as I continue to make my way. And what I think is really important that I want to share is don't underestimate the things that you do along the way along your journey, because all of those things are accomplishments, right? So if you're watching me on YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn and you see me kind of looking over, because I'm actually also doing Instagram Live, which I never do both, right? It's because I usually am playing video and sound and haven't figured out yet how to pipe that in so that the Instagram audience will hear it when I'm doing my show. But today there is no sound, right? There's just me. So I'm live in both on all the platforms that I have a presence on in terms of being streaming. So thank you for those of you over on Instagram who've checked in. I appreciate it. And thank you for those of you who are watching on LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube. If you will share the broadcast, I'd appreciate it. And if you happen to watch the replay, make sure you drop me a note in the chat. And even now, if there's something that you have been wanting to do and you're like, man, I haven't done it by now, I'm just not going to do it. What I say to you is there's a lot of things in this path, in this journey of my career that I haven't done yet. But there's a lot of things I have done. The things that I haven't, it's not too late. I may have to find some different ways to do it, which is what I've actually been doing through most of my career, is finding ways to do things that, quite frankly, people told me I couldn't do. From the very beginning. for my very first internship, there was a man named Kurt Logan over at KHOU, and KHOU is one of my favorite places in town. So this is not a reflection on the rest of the people at KHOU, but there was a managing director, and when I went in to be an intern to work for free, he told me that he didn't think he told me no, and he said he thought I should change my major because I had absolutely no future in broadcasting. So I was like, oh, okay. So obviously that did not deter me because I kept at it, right? I kept at it, and I ended up getting an internship with Carolyn Campbell. If you remember her, she worked at Channel 11 for many years. She used to run something called the Consumer Hotline. And so I went and was able to get an internship with Carolyn. And I remember being in the building one day and seeing this Kurt Logan guy, and he said, "Hey, what are you doing here?" And I said, "Hey, oh, yeah, I'm an intern. I work in the Consumer Hotline." So from that, once I got in the building, because that's really all I had to do was get in the building, I was able to, do some work in news. I did work in sports because no one was going to outwork me. I was always there. I was always working, whether it was carrying a photographer's camera equipment, writing VOs for a producer or an associate producer, going out with somebody on a live shot, helping with equipment, whatever it took. I did that. And so there were people in the building who would then allow me to do more, and I learned as much as I could about the business. That's really how it started for me. Then I went back to A&M and worked at a station there, and graduated and came back and started this journey because I really wanted to do sports, And so all along the way, I've had people tell me no, you don't have enough experience. And then it got to a point, but you'll love this. It was, you have too much experience, right? Like you know so much. So I felt like, well, man, how do you, so you either don't have enough experience or you have too much experience. So you're trying to tell me there's no place for me? And so for many years, it was not really out of defiance. I felt like I deserved to do the work. I deserved an opportunity. But I always worked at it because I always wanted to work to get better. I always wanted to be good at my craft. I wanted to learn all the things, right? I wanted to know how to write. I wanted to know back then how to edit. We were editing tape to tape. I wanted to know about producing. I wanted to know about timing. I never really wanted to shoot, but I wanted to know what photographers were shooting so that when I was telling my story, I could make sure that I'm writing to what they're shooting, right? Words and pictures have to go together to make TV. Otherwise, you just have radio. And then I also did radio. I did talk radio. I wrote for newspapers, the now defunct Houston Post. I wrote for the Houston Sun. I was a stringer for the wire services. I did overnight news cut-ins at Channel 2 back in the day. There was a point, guys, actually in my career where I worked really every single day. I did all these little jobs because I wanted to get as much experience as possible because I kept being told, yeah, you don't have enough experience, right? You don't have enough experience. Well, how am I going to get it? Oh, there's a job. So my friends would joke at me and they were like, you have like 7 jobs. But it was because I wanted to learn the industry. So maybe your thing isn't television or radio or newspaper or media at all. Maybe what your thing is a business. It's starting a business. It's climbing the ladder in a particular company or industry, whatever that is. What I'm saying to you is just learn your craft and be good at it, because that is what I, to this day, continue to do. Like, I'm still learning things because the industry changes. And so I keep learning. So while I am a piece of history, my journey is a piece of history, I am not historic, right? In the sense that I can't just rest on, oh yeah, I was the first one to do this. And I've had to fight my way all along. Yes, but there's still things I can learn. I still always work at it. I still read a lot. I still find out what the new trends are. I still want to make sure I know who the newsmakers are and in my areas of interest. I cover sports. I cover also things that have to do with culture, and I talk a lot about food and health. So I have to follow those trends and those people and information so that what I'm giving you, what I'm sharing with you, comes from a place of knowledge and research and credibility. So I said all that to say on this very last day of Black History Month, that's how I have a little piece of Black history, right? I've got to come from a family that has a lot of history, but I wanted to share that because I'm often telling people and encouraging them to talk about their journey, to tell their story. So I've got to do it. So this is me saying, okay, you know what? It is difficult to sometimes talk about yourself in a way that doesn't feel self-serving. But what is it that you can find about what you know or what you do that can be instructive or meaningful or helpful for someone else? If you take that approach, if the approach is always about serving others, I think you'll be fine. That's what does it for me. That's what frees me up to talk about certain things if I feel like it's instructive and it's helpful for somebody else. It's not just, hey, look at me and what I've done. Because that's just not who I am. That's not how I'm wired. And as a journalist who happens to be talent, that whole thing about talent and journalism. Look, I'm a journalist. I'm bound by those standards, right? That's how I approach my work. I'm a business owner because you can be both. I have to be a business owner in order to do my work as a journalist because my business, they all work together. And so I'm always learning, growing, doing, and hopefully helping and sharing and creating space for somebody else to explore building on what they're doing. So I wanted to get this in under 10 minutes. I don't know if I've done that because I haven't watched the clock. I think I have, right? It's 1:52. I started this at 1:40. Oh, so I'm 12 minutes. So listen, Chalk Talk tomorrow at 10 a.m. Make sure you tune in for a regular Chalk Talk show. But I just wanted to say on this last day of Black History Month, first of all, Black History is every month, okay? But I challenged myself to do this month, and this is the last day, right? Go figure. But I got it in. So thank you for supporting Chalk Talk. Thank you for being a part of my tribe. Thank you if you've encouraged me to say, Kim, you should do more. You should tell people more about your journey. And there's a lot more I can share. I'm not going to sit here and give you my entire resume and my background, but I did want to hop on today and share this and tell you that there will be more to come. I'm working on the books, the documentary. I'm doing all those things in 2022. And so moving beyond what's comfortable for me, which is right now here at this moment, telling you that, hey, this is something about me you should know, is a start. So thank you guys. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. Make it a great, great day. Remember, if you're not vaccinated, get vaccinated. If you're vaccinated, get boosted. Continue to follow whatever protocols are in your area so we can get through this thing, right? I'm always going to mention to you about this pandemic because we're not quite out of the woods yet. But also do something kind for yourself and do something kind for somebody else. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning on Chalk Talk at 10 a.m. Drop me a note and let me know if there's something that I can share with you that can be helpful. I'd love to do it. Have a great day, everybody. I appreciate you. Okay, so how do I end both of these at once? Okay. Here we go. I'll see you next time. Okay, so let's do this.